All right, let's try to make sense of what's happening in these final two games here of the regular season over this weekend. About 48 hours ago, I was on Twitter and I was, I like to poke at the fan base a little bit and be a little bit facetious, but I was like, I believe it was a Marcus Thompson tweet, and he was giving us the scenarios because they're kind of confusing. If this team tie breaks, wins this, right? And I was like, so in other words, Friday night, the Kings are sending us into the play-in. People are like, why are you so negative, Alk? You're always so negative. I was like, when you look at a one-off regular season game, and to me, my mindset was like, listen, the Kings are going to want to send a message, right? Not only do they want to knock us into the play-in so they don't have to face us in the first round, but in case they do run into us, it's like, hey, listen, we're going to whip you up here at home. This is our home court, and we're going to close out the season with a bang. That was my train of thought. But then, all of a sudden, the Kings put everyone as questionable on their injury report for tonight's game. So I guess the other caveat is Grizzlies Bucks earlier in the evening tonight would, if Memphis loses, Sacramento still has a shot at that 2 seed. And so perhaps they're just posturing and they're waiting to see, okay, if Memphis is losing here, then we'll play everybody. But here's the catch with that one. It looks like the Bucks are going to rest everybody because they don't have anything to play for. So you would assume Memphis takes care of business there. And then the next train of thought would move to, well, it looks like the Kings are choosing, we'd rather face the Warriors than the Lakers, right? Not so fast though. What if Mike Brown is just posturing and he's messing with his old team here right now, and he's putting everybody as questionable, and then 20 minutes before game time, 30 minutes before when the lineups have to come out, they're like, surprise, we rolling everybody out. We just messing with you. We wanted to mess with your emotions. They're not really going to bring it. Now you got to get up and be prepared, right? Psychological warfare, or am I reaching? Am I giving Mike Brown too much credit? That brings me to today's sponsor, Sorare NBA. And we're entering, I think, just a few hours here to join week 48, the final week of the regular season. It's going to be a tough one because just like today's video, right? Who's playing and who's not? You can't necessarily just lean on your top guys. You got to figure out some of these younger guys on the end of the benches are going to be playing heavy minutes this week. And so they're going to put up numbers, and you probably got to put them in your starting lineup. Shout out to Mr. Scoot, who's in the lead right now. I got to do better. I'm in 10th place. Yeah, I think that I'm making my picks with my heart, not my head, but I'll get better as the league grows and we adjust and start winning some prizes. Link in the description, Sorare NBA. Go ahead and join my league, Athletic Alchemy. All right, well, let's go ahead and assume, like most of you, the Kings are basically saying, we would rather face the Warriors than the Lakers in the first round. So let's look at the argument of why they maybe would want to do this, right? They are 3-1 against the Lakers this season. Caveat being, I think LeBron missed one of those games, and AD only played in one of them. And AD, I think, is the key to why they don't want any smoke with the Lakers, right? It's his size and his ability to guard Sabonis one-on-one. You know, there are not a whole lot of teams that are just going to leave their guy on Sabonis on an island and say, you don't send help. We don't need any help. Well, the Lakers, they have that luxury with Anthony Davis. And then you flip it to the other side of the ball. Sabonis is going to have to spend minutes on Anthony Davis defending him. And the problem is Sabonis, after Jaren Jackson Jr., fouls more than anybody in the league. And so you just look at that matchup, that's a predicament. That could take Sabonis out of the series, right? The other element is LeBron, obviously, and it's just the size of the Lakers roster, I think, is the root of it, is they wouldn't want to have to play up to that. It wouldn't allow them to play as small as I think Mike Brown would like and play all those guards. Who do you put on LeBron? Outside of Harrison Barnes, you got Trey Lyles on him? You're going to put Metu on him? Again, I think they would have to size up in the rotation, and that's just not how they would want to play. And that ultimately is why maybe they would want to avoid this Laker team, not to mention the fouls, right? If you want to talk about the LeBron whistle and the Laker whistle, well, they're probably still traumatized from that C-Webb series, right? In Donaghy and all that. I don't blame them. I don't blame them, right? All right, so let's look at the Warriors side of things. Why would or wouldn't they want to face the Warriors? Not a great defense. Statistically this season, obviously, you look at De'Aaron Fox, he's averaged 35 against the Warriors in these three matchups. Here's the issue. Steph Curry averaged 35 too. He dropped 47 and 3/4 in one of these games back in November or October. I really think that it's kind of an inverted equation when you talk about the Lakers and their size. Sacramento would be able to play small ball, push the pace, and have a shootout with the Warriors, right? But I also think that it would be a tougher matchup for De'Aaron Fox. When you look at, you can throw GP2 on him, Dante, Wiggins, hopefully, and Kuminga. Not to mention Fox is going to have to chase Steph and Clay around all those screens and Poole, right? So it just taxes Sacramento's guards more. But I do think that ultimately Sacramento feels like they have more depth at the guard position and they're comfortable playing that way as opposed to playing up to the Lakers' size. And then you can bring up the familiarity factor. Is Mike Brown more comfortable playing against Steve Kerr and understanding his tendencies? Because when you talk about playoff matchups and adjustments game to game, it's also anticipating what the other coach wants to do. Like, for instance, they come out of a timeout and Mike Brown knows they're going to want to zone up. They're going to zone up Draymond on Fox. Whoever's on Fox, Draymond's going to sag off and try to zone up and double team him essentially. And so, hey, out of bounds, skip pass to the far side corner, open three. Those are the type of tendencies that coaching staff may, strike upon when there's that type of familiarity. And so perhaps that's part of the train of thought with Mike Brown and wanting to face his old team, right? The final element is the home crowd and the home court. And we've talked about this a little bit last week, right? Where you imagine Dub Nation would travel up to Sacramento and split that crowd. But here's the thing. Are you sure the Lakers wouldn't do the same thing? We know how big Laker Nation is as well throughout California. And so I would imagine a crowd, I don't know. Maybe the Kings can do something there because of this drought and how special this is with the Beam team. But I imagine it may be a 60-40 crowd, Kings fans to Warrior fans at the Golden One. And I wouldn't be surprised if it were a Laker matchup that it'd be a 70-30. But here's the thing that people aren't talking about. Why aren't the Kings going to come down to the Chase Center and split that crowd? Especially after, a 17-year drought, the longest drought in NBA for a playoff appearance, right? And the Kings fans, they're super thirsty. We know how passionate they are. So listen, Chase Center has been loud and good, but it's not the same Oracle crowd. And I wouldn't be shocked if, what would it be, Game 3 at Chase Center? If all of a sudden you see it's a 60-40 Warriors-Kings crowd and the Warriors' home court is evaporated a little bit. And so there are so many elements at play here. Ultimately, the Warriors got to take care of business either way tonight, whether it's not having a letdown against the backup Kings or a surprise that all of them are playing. They got to get the job done because the play-in could just end up being disastrous. They absolutely need this week off to ramp Wiggins up and get the core vets a week of rest headed into the series, regardless of who they're playing. And I think the Lakers are thinking the same way, but it's kind of out of their control. If we can handle business tonight and then handle business against Portland, which is not a gimme, Shadon Sharpe and these young boys are going to come out there and try to play spoilers. So they got to just focus on themselves and getting these 2 dubs. And then we can take the week off and I will have a full breakdown of whatever matchup they have, God willing. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.